No, not at all. Actually, Mataji, take it from me very honestly. These are all big things I am speaking. I am nowhere there. Please don't think you are talking to a pure devotee or anything. I am a struggling devotee like all of you. But when you ask questions, it gives me a chance to look at myself and try to think about whatever I have learned and share with you. So absolutely, this forum is for asking questions. Not that if you don't ask questions, then where is the churning? Where do we learn anything?
Each time the questions and shlokas that they are not giving, we are not able to take, Prabhuji, the full out of it, because it is not possible to take the full, but little and little knowledge, and we are able to understand it. The meaning, true meaning of shloka.
Actually, Namataji, as we go on doing this, internally some changes are happening. We may not even know what changes are happening, but we are changing with it. As long as we are applying ourselves sincerely to this process, things are changing within us. And there is no doubt about it. That will definitely happen. Only thing, we are not anxious that others should see this change. As long as we are experiencing this change and we are happy about it, nothing like it. So Prabhupada will give you some, benchmarks. Are my material desires, my material attachments slowly weakening internally? Am I becoming more and more attached to Krishna? Am I taking greater pleasure in reading the books of Prabhupada, to hear lectures of Prabhupada? Am I having more eagerness to associate with devotees? These changes, if it is happening in you, you can be very happy. If this hankering is increasing steadily, then you become very, very happy. And you go on fueling this. This is what we want to grow. So it's such a natural, organic process of advancing. There is no drastic change we are looking for. That is happening in the case of, people who follow Jnana Marga, Karma Marga, Ashtanga Yoga Marga, Kundalini, all these people have these problems. But as a devotee, it's happening so naturally because Krishna is holding your hand and Krishna is walking you along. Spiritual master is holding your hand. So there's absolutely no fear in this path. There is absolutely no.
Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, one who wants to liberate one's Atma to go back Godhead, they should be freed from material desires, sorrows or happiness, profit or loss, which comes due to our karmas. Prabhuji.
Yes.
But sometimes we are affected by these, even though we know we have knowledge, sometimes we are affected by day-to-day activities in our family. We are being affected, Prabhuji. How can we deal with that?
Why sometimes, Mataji, most of the time we are affected. But, our strength is our faith in the words of our spiritual master. That is your real strength. Just see, how did Prabhupada go to America? What gave him the power? He had only 40 Indian rupees. Only 40 Indian rupees. He had no good health also not there. No supporters anywhere. He had to travel on a ship. But how did he do? Strength of his faith in his spiritual master's words. His spiritual master told, you have to go to the Western world, speak in English, teach them Bhagavad Gita. And that faith carried him. So as a devotee, for you and me, our strength is our faith. We have to go on strengthening this faith in what Prabhupada has told us, what Krishna has told us, what we read in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. We should have complete faith in that. And we should chant our rounds with full attention. We should hanker for devotee association. Everything has been told by Prabhupada. So we are only trying to operate what we have been taught to do. And that is your strength, Mataji. Whether I am affected by family problems today, it is immaterial. What is material? Am I strengthening my faith in Prabhupada? Am I strengthening my faith in Krishna? Am I strengthening my faith in the Holy Scriptures and devotee association? As long as you are doing that, rest assured, just as sun has to rise in the east only, you will become purified. There is absolutely no doubt. Today I am experiencing contamination, no problem, Mataji. Your purification, your liberation is guaranteed. So it is only the Shraddha, that is the root we are holding on. Shraddha. That Shraddha will take you to the ultimate destination of Krishna Prema. That Shraddha. So that Shraddha will keep you in the process. It will not allow you to go away from the process. That will hold you. Why we will go away? So the external symptoms, you don't bother too much. Only thing you have to see, whenever some external disturbance happens, if you react with, let us say, anger, or if you react with, let us say, lust or confusion, then you ask yourself, what is going on here? Am I responding in a Krishna conscious way, or am I responding from the gunas? Am I responding from my tamo gun or rajo gun? Am I responding in a habitual way, or am I responding in a Krishna conscious way? So whenever you experience this dichotomy in life, this duality in life, you just question yourself, am I operating on a Krishna conscious platform? Let me try. And you pray to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, please guide me. That in this situation, how should I respond? Please guide me. I realize that I am responding from a guna platform, but I want to respond from a nirguna platform, from a transcendental platform. Please help me. So you can pray like that. So one thing, a devotee does is always vigilant, always vigilant. Am I becoming a victim of Maya, or am I holding on to the lotus feet of my spiritual master? That is something, constantly we should be aware. Sometimes we'll fall down. Krishna says we will fall down. So that doesn't matter. But we fall down and we again get up. We stand up again. We don't fall down and remain lying flat, We again get up and again try to walk. We will fall sometimes, but then one day we will not fall anymore. That will come. That is all the strength of Shraddha, that will take us through. Absolutely. And that Shraddha is protected in the association of devotees. So we should never leave the association of devotees. That is our lifeguard, Hare Krishna. Is it okay, Mataji?
Yes, okay, clear, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Prabhuji, I just wanted to share one lecture I heard when my husband was too sick. Like in the earlier days, I used to get really frustrated. 24/7, I had to be involved in his care. I will not be able to do my work, like too tired and all that. So I heard one lecture of Jagat Prabhudas. In that he said, one day Vidura visited Kunti Mata Maharani, and when Kunti Maharani was telling her difficulties to Vidura, Vidura said the difference between starvation and fasting. Starvation is too difficult than fasting. So whatever so that really struck me really well, because when we think I'm doing something like that, just like that, it is really difficult. But when we connect it with Krishna, then I thought this is Krishna has given to me as his duty. I'm doing this for Krishna. I'm taking care of Krishna's child. So when I think like that, it is really very easy. Whatever difficulty, it is very, very easy. So I don't have any frustration. I'm doing it very happily now.
Yeah. Oh, that's a very, very nice example. Yeah, actually, at home also, we constantly take this particular example, the difference between starvation and fasting. There is my will is operating in the case of fasting. I am willing to please Krishna. I am doing this out of my volition. Whereas starvation, you have no choice. You are forced. So there is a big difference in fasting for Krishna and starving for want of food. It's a big, big difference. Absolutely. Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, I hope everybody agrees with this analysis. This is Vidura guiding Kunti Maharani when she is expressing her, experiences, right, Mataji? Jagat Sakshi Prabhu told this example.
Yes, Prabhuji. In one of his lectures that really struck me, then all my difficulties, it was very, very easy to handle things from that point on.
Actually, that is the strength of a devotee. That is the power of a devotee.
Yes,
Okay, so let us go to NoI, text number 6. Text number 5, we have finished last week. Whatever little was left, I hope you have all made up from home. Let us go to text number 6. Please open. We have half an hour or 35 minutes time, then I have to go out. I have another engagement. Maybe we'll try to do some justice before that. Drishtai svabhava janitair vapushascha doshair na prakritatvam iha bhakta janasya pashyet gangam bhasam nakhalu budbudafena pankhair brahma dravatvam apagaccha dinira dharmai. We'll read again. Drishtai svabhava janitai vapushascha doshair na prakritatvam iha bhakta janasya pashyet gangam bhasam nakalu budbudafena pankhair brahma dravatvam apagacchati nira dharmai. Yes, I'll read it one more time. Drishtai svabhava janitair vapushascha doshair na prakritatvam iha bhakta janasya pashyet gangam bhasam nakalu budbudafena pankhair brahma dravatvam apagacchati nira dharmai. You can read translation, one of you please.
May I, Prabhuji?
Yeah,
Hare
okay.
Krishna. Being situated in his original Krishna conscious position, a pure devotee does not identify with the body. Such a devotee should not be seen from a materialistic point of view. Indeed, one should overlook a devotee as having a body born in a low family, a body with a bad complexion, a deformed body, or a diseased or infirm body. According to ordinary vision, such imperfections may seem prominent in the body of a pure devotee. But despite such seeming defects, the body of a pure devotee cannot be polluted. It is exactly like the waters of the Ganges, which sometimes during the rainy season are full of bubbles, foam, and mud. The Ganges waters do not become polluted. Those who are advanced in spiritual understanding will bathe in the Ganges without considering the condition of the water.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
So, between this shloka and previous shloka, there is a link. In the previous shloka, we saw about how a devotee should deal with other devotees. A Kanishta Adhikari cannot make distinctions among Vaishnavas because a Kanishta Adhikari has no concept of Vaishnavas. He only thinks the deity in the temple is God and he will worship that God only. He doesn't know how to deal with Vaishnavas, to deal with non-Vaishnavas or envious people. So he's a Kanishta Adhikari. But someone who is in the Madhyama platform, they can make distinctions between Uttama Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, and Kanishta Adhikari, and innocent people and envious people. So he makes distinctions of 5 different types of people and deals with them on the basis of this understanding. He doesn't deal with everybody equally. He offers respects to every Vaishnava, but then makes a distinction between a junior Vaishnava, middling Vaishnava, and an advanced Vaishnava. He makes a distinction. And for innocent people, he gives mercy by teaching them Krishna consciousness. And for envious people, he gives mercy by leaving them alone, doesn't deal with them. So we saw like that one should learn to become a Madhyama Adhikari and make distinctions between Vaishnavas. But in shloka number 6, we are told, don't make distinctions between Vaishnavas. In the previous shloka, make distinctions between Vaishnavas. In this shloka, don't make distinctions between Vaishnavas. So is it a contradiction? Does anyone see a contradiction here?
No, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Yeah. Does anyone see contradiction here? No, thank you. There is no contradiction here. So here we are going to talk about a devotee is a devotee within, not devotee externally. Okay. And a nice example of Ganga is given. The river Ganga is a holy river that is proceeding from the lotus feet of Vishnu. You know, when Vishnu was measuring the 3 words in Trivikrama Avatar, his right foot, the big toe, it pierced the roof of the universe. And the Viraja river started flowing into the material universe through that hole. And Brahma When he saw his father's lotus foot appearing there, he also offered his Kamandalu water. Both mixed, and then that is flowing as Ganga. And Ganga Devi is flowing in all the planetary systems. And then Bhagirath, he brought her to the material world to liberate his 60,000 brothers, Sagaraputras. He liberated them by bringing Ganga water. This Ganga water, even if it is polluted, it is still Ganga only. In the rainy season, it can become very muddy, sometimes frothy, sometimes bubbling. But a devotee will immediately go and jump and take a bath because he knows Ganga water in any condition is purifying. Even today, you can see in Calcutta, if you go to Babughat, and you can see people taking happily nice bath there. So in the rainy season, so much muddy water is flowing, but happily people are taking bath in it. So even though, Kariga so much deteriorated, but people still understand the sanctity of Ganga water. And here another interesting thing is, if water consists of bubbles or foam, it is considered impure. But today we buy bubbly water in the shop by paying money for it. And you open and there is so much foam. We say so happy. Yeah, this is excellent. It is giving so much foam. But actually, foamy or frothy or bubbly is not fit for drinking. We should immediately avoid it. It is untouchable, except when it is Ganga. If it is Ganga, absolutely no problem. But any other water, if it has foam or froth or bubbles, don't go anywhere near that. It is polluted. So here, this shloka Rupa Goswami is telling us, please don't see a Vaishnava as a material body, because Vaishnava is something transcendental. Body is material. Body is made of 3 gunas. But the soul is beyond this. And a devotee is at the soul level and is conscious of his servitorship to the Supreme Lord at all times. So it's not material at all. If you see him as a body, then your consciousness is polluted, not his consciousness. So we should develop this ability to see a devotee as beyond the body. The moment you identify with the body, what all mistakes we will do, you see? Born in a low family, you will say, he is a Shudra Vaishnava, he is a Brahmana Vaishnava, he is a Kshatriya Vaishnava, he is a Mlecha Vaishnava, or he is a Muslim Vaishnava, Haridas Thakur, Muslim Vaishnava, Pathan Vaishnava. So make distinctions. He is a poor, he is rich, he is ugly, he is beautiful. Like that, making distinctions of Vaishnavas is all. So very, very important. Once Vaishnava, he has gone beyond material designations. How there can be a Brahmana Vaishnava and a Kshatriya Vaishnava and a Shudra Vaishnava? No. This Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya is a Varnashrama platform, which is inferior to the Bhakti platform. Bhakti is a transcendental platform. Varnashrama is a material platform. Varnashrama is given to free people from the influence of gunas gradually. Gradually, from Tamogun to Rajogun to Sattvagun, we are elevated by following Varnashrama. But someone who is a devotee is already beyond the 3 modes of material nature. Why do you impose Varnashrama on him? So having said somebody is a Vaishnava, the question does not arise. Is he a Brahmin or a Shudra, or he is from a foreigner? Foreigner means he is a Mlecha. All these are applicable only under Varnashrama system. And Varnashrama is a material platform. When it comes to devotion, it is a transcendental platform. Varnashrama rules don't apply anymore. So, a dog eater, once he has become a Vaishnava, he is fit to perform yajna. He is fit to perform yajna. This is there in Bhagavatam 3rd canto. Even though he was born as a dog eater, because of his past karma of previous lifetimes, because of karma, he is born as a dog eater. But now he has become a Vaishnava. All that is gone. He has transcended. And he is fit to be a spiritual master of the whole world, even though born in a dog eater family. So these are the points that we should take. So kindly read. I will stop you wherever I want you to stop. Please. Who will read? Everybody has got book, no? Anyone can start reading.
Should I read, Prabhuji? Continue.
It looks like, I don't know why nobody is offering to read.
Yeah, Prabhuji, may I read?
Yeah, yeah.
Being situated in his original Krishna conscious position, a pure devotee does not identify with the body. Such a devotee should not be seen from a materialistic point of view. Indeed, one should overlook a devotee having a body born in a low family, a body with a bad complexion, a deformed body, or a diseased or infirm body. According to ordinary vision, such imperfections may seem prominent in the body of a pure devotee, but despite such seeming defects, the body of a pure devotee cannot be polluted. It is exactly like the water of the Ganges, which sometimes during the rainy season are full of bubbles, foam, and mud. The Ganges water do not become polluted. Those who are advanced in spiritual understanding will bathe in the Ganges without considering the condition of the water. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Shuddha Bhakti, the activity of the soul proper, in other words, engagement in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, is performed in a liberated condition. In Bhagavad Gita 14.26, it is stated, Mamcha ya vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatithyatan brahma bhutaye kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any circumstance, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Avyavicharini bhakti. Avyabhicharini bhakti means unalloyed devotion. A person engaged in devotional service must be free from material motives. In this Krishna consciousness movement, one's consciousness must be changed. If consciousness is aimed towards material enjoyment, it is material consciousness. And if it is aimed towards serving Krishna, it is Krishna consciousness. A surrendered soul serves Krishna without material considerations. Anya vilasitas sunyam. Jnana karmadi anabritam. Unalloyed devotional service, which is transcendental to the activities of the body and mind, such as jnana, mental speculation, and karma, fruitive work, is called pure bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga is the proper activity of the soul, and when one actually engages in unalloyed, uncontaminated devotional service, he is already liberated. Saguna samatithyatan. Krishna's devotee is not subjected to material condition, even though his bodily features may appear materially conditioned. One should therefore not see a pure devotee from a materialistic point of view. Unless one is actually a devotee, he cannot see another devotee perfectly.
This
As
is an
explained
important point.
in the
This point, please note, underline in your book. Unless one is actually a devotee, he cannot see another devotee perfectly. So this is a reminder for all of us to be extremely vigilant while dealing with other devotees. Only a devotee can find out all the devotee. To elaborate further, only a pure devotee can recognize another pure devotee. A mixed devotee can recognize only another mixed devotee. A mixed devotee cannot recognize a pure devotee. A Kanishta Adhikari cannot recognize a Uttama Adhikari or a Madhyama Adhikari. So we have to understand these weaknesses, and very, very carefully we should avoid judgment. Even though we are advised to advance to Madhyama platform, from Kanishta to Madhyama, we should advance so that we will know how to make distinctions among Vaishnavas, only for the purpose of offering respect accordingly. So one should move to the level of Madhyama platform. But simply when we start judging left, right, and center Vaishnavas, we'll be doing some serious aparadh. So this is a very important warning. In such a short sentence, Prabhupada says, only a devotee can recognize another devotee. So it's very, very important. It depends on our level of purity to recognize another devotee. So we should be very careful not to judge others. Yes, Prabhu. Continue.
As explained in the previous verse, there are three types of devotees: Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, and Uttama Adhikari. The Kanishta Adhikari cannot distinguish between a devotee and a non-devotee. He is simply concerned with worshipping the deity in the temple. A Madhyama Adhikari, however, can distinguish between the devotee and non-devotee, as well as between the devotee and the Lord. Thus, he treats the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the devotee and the non-devotee in different ways. No one should criticize the bodily defects of a pure devotee. If there are such defects, they should be overlooked. What should be taken into account is the spiritual master's main business, which is devotional service, pure service to the Supreme Lord, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 9.30. Api chet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadhureva mantyavya sammak vyavosita hissa. Even if a devotee sometimes seems to engage in abominable activities, he should be considered a sadhu, a saintly person, because his actual identity is that of one engaged in loving service of the Lord. In other words, he is not to be considered an ordinary human being.
Hare Krishna. Yes.
Even
so, one second.
Yes.
So here, Prabhupada is coming to the main subject. So, how good a devotee is a person? How good is a devotee? So, Prabhupada says the only test is how seriously he has taken up the spiritual master's main business. That is the measure of the sincerity of a devotee. And that is a measure of how advanced is a devotee. How seriously he has taken up the spiritual master's main business as his own life and soul. If spiritual master says, go and preach, is this person sincerely doing that? If spiritual master says, distribute the books profusely, and if this person is doing that, that is wonderful. So basically, we should not look at bodily defects, not even bodily defects, even if some deficiencies are there in the behavior. That is not very important. What is important is a spiritual master's main business, which is devotional service, pure service to the Supreme Lord. That is the main business of spiritual master. So if the devotee is doing that, he is considered a sadhu. Even if he exhibits some abominable activity sometimes, because of swabhava. In another class, we have discussed this distinction between Shraddha and Swabhava. Devotional faith is strong, but still he has the baggage of past lifetime, some bad Swabhava, habits which has come from past lifetime. They will trouble him for some time, but slowly it will go away. So if you judge the devotee because of the Swabhava defect, what is called anartha, you are making a mistake, you are committing an aparadha. A devotee has got Shraddha, but he's also troubled by some bad habits. If you think he's not a devotee, if you insult him, your devotion will go. So very, very carefully we should deal. If you see a devotee having some bad habits also, he can keep a distance. You don't have to criticize. He can keep a distance from that bad habit. That person, you can associate with that person on a devotional level. But if you still find that some seriously wrong problems are there, then you can keep away. But there's no need to judge and criticize another devotee. So we should very carefully protect our own devotion. And what will protect you is, you should see the other person, is he serving Krishna sincerely? Pure devotional service, if he's doing, then you should give him all the respects due to an advanced devotee. So that warning Prabhupada is giving. Next 2-3 paragraphs I will explain. You can read it at home. Prabhupada is saying, even though a pure devotee may not be born in a Brahmin family. So now Prabhupada is taking to another level. See, we saw about Ganga water. If Ganga water is polluted, we don't refuse to take bath in it. Externally it is polluted, but we still know it is a sacred water. Similarly, a devotee of Krishna is sacred. Even if he is born in a Shudra family, even if he is born in a Mlecha family, even if he is born in a Chandala family, even if he is born in a Muslim family, these are all external bodily considerations. If you allow these external considerations to influence your judgment of a Vaishnava, you are in deep trouble. Because once you say Vaishnava, that is the highest transcendental title. It's a transcendental title. After that, if you ask, is he a Brahmana? That's an offense. If you say he's a Shudra, that's an offense. Because both Brahmana and Shudra are inferior to Vaishnava. A Vaishnava is the highest transcendental title. After that, how does the question arise if the person is born in a Brahmana family or a Shudra family? Also, we should realize that one is considered a Brahmana by birth. If father is a Brahmana, son is also considered Brahmana. That's wrong. One should be called a Brahmana by only his qualities and nature of work. One doesn't become a Brahmana by birth. Just as one does not become a doctor by taking birth in a doctor family. Father is a doctor, so son is a doctor. No, son has passed only 4th standard. How can he be claimed to be a doctor? So a doctor's son, an advocate's son, an engineer's son cannot automatically doctor or advocate or engineer. Same way, Brahmana's son is not a Brahmana. Brahmana has some qualification. If he acquires those qualifications, he can be called a Brahmana, not otherwise. It's not by birth. Same way, Goswami. Goswami nowadays in Vrindavan and other places, if you see, they are Goswami families. So my father is Goswami, I am also Goswami. And because of that, when the Westerners, disciples of Prabhupada came, and they found out that Prabhupada has given them title like Goswami, Tamal Krishna Goswami, Bhakti Tirtha Goswami, like that. Goswami titles were given. They started objecting. No, we are Goswami family. Only we are called Goswami because we are the generations of Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya Prabhu. Only we are Goswamis. Our entire parampara is Goswami. But how can a Westerner become a Goswami? So they are objecting to ISKCON. So Prabhupada is clarifying here. Goswami is not by birth. If you have controlled your senses, you are called a Goswami. Go means senses, Swami means master. So master of the senses is called a Goswami. So Prabhupada says, my disciples have mastered their senses. I am giving them the title of Goswami. Who can object? So Prabhupada is telling, whether it is a Brahmana or a Goswami, it's all by one's qualities only. And in any case, Vaishnava is the highest title. You should not make distinctions of who is a Brahmana, Vaishnava, I will give special respect. Because there are some cultural issues. Brahmanas have certain cultural superiority because of generations of upbringing. But simply because of some cultural diversity, you cannot say Brahmana Vaishnava is higher than a Shudra Vaishnava. He may not have the advantages of the cultural upbringing, but they have become a Vaishnava. And a Vaishnava is far higher than a Brahmana. So these points we should keep in mind. Brahmana is a Varnashrama title, and also it is not by birth. One should develop the necessary qualities. And a Vaishnava is by quality only. There is no born Vaishnava. A Vaishnava acquires the quality of a Vaishnava, and then he becomes transcendental. He is no longer subject to the material designations. So we should be very careful. Then Prabhupada gives the example of 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, they were born Brahmin family, but they were adopted by Muslim. Nawab Hussain Shah, he made them the ministers, and he gave them a lot of wealth, and he gave them titles like Sagara Mallika and Dabir Khas. They became practically Muslim. But when they became disciples of Mahaprabhu, he made them Goswamis because they are masters of their senses. And he sent them to Vrindavan to entirely guide the Gaudiya Vaishnava mission. It is Rupa Sanatan Goswami who are the leaders of Gaudiya Vaishnava mission. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made them Goswamis. So Goswami title is not a hereditary title. One who conquers the senses is a Goswami. So Prabhupada is again giving the examples of Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu's descendants. They are called Goswamis. Prabhupada says, very good, no problem. But don't discriminate against my disciples who are also Goswamis. It's not that we are Nityananda Goswami, you are a foreigner Goswami. Not like that. As a Goswami, we are all equal servants of Krishna. So Prabhupada says, here is an American Goswami. To think like that and discriminate against him is wrong. It's not that only by birth one can become a Goswami. So Prabhupada says that. And Prabhupada says sometimes people flatly tell the American devotees that their sannyasa or title of Goswami is not bona fide. They also tell only a Brahmana can take sannyas. You are a foreigner, so you are not a sannyasi. Prabhupada has given sannyas, but they are objecting. No. How can you make a foreigner into a sannyasi? It's not bona fide. So Prabhupada says it's all wrong. According to Rupa Goswami, an American Goswami and an Acharya family Goswami are non-different. So there is no question of consideration of birth, whether Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, if that person is a Vaishnava. On the other hand, if Prabhupada is now cautioning his own disciples, don't think because I have given you the Goswami title, you have become anything great. Prabhupada says. He is warning his own devotees, disciples. He says, if you become proud, you will fall down. Both pride and envy should never touch a devotee. If you become a victim of jealousy or pride, you will fall down from the position of Paramahamsa. Then Prabhupada says, if we consider the bodily defects of a Vaishnava, we are committing a serious offense to that Vaishnava. I will read this sentence. If we consider the bodily defects of a Vaishnava, we should understand that we are committing an offense at the lotus feet of the Vaishnava. And this offense is called Matahati offense. Matahati means mad elephant. What does a mad elephant do? If it enters into a garden, it will make it useless. Similarly, if your devotional creeper is growing in the garden of your heart and you allow this Vaishnava aparad, Matahati to enter, it will destroy your devotional creeper. And you may take many lifetimes to return. So, even sins are tolerable, but aparad is not tolerable. You can overcome sin by repentance and chanting of the holy name. But when you commit aparad, it becomes very difficult to come out of aparad. So we should very carefully deal with Vaishnavas. We should offer all respects to the Vaishnavas and we should not commit any offense. Every devotee should be ready to take instruction from a superior Vaishnava. Even if that Vaishnava is an American or a Shudra by birth, those considerations don't apply to them. I am a Brahmana and I have taken initiation. You are a Shudra, you have also taken initiation, so I am superior to you. Even though you are a senior to me in Diksha, but I am a Brahmana, so I am superior. Such attitudes are very dangerous. That is bad elephant offense. Such distinctions should never be done. One is forbidden to observe the activities of a pure Vaishnava from material point of view. Particularly for a beginner, we are all beginners in Krishna consciousness. So we should be very careful not to see a pure devotee materially. Sometimes, one looks at the spiritual master and spiritual master is having a bad cough. They think, oh, my spiritual master has also got a disease. He's coughing, or he's got some skin disease, or he's got some headache. And he's also an ordinary human being. No, to consider a spiritual master as a human being is a great offense. A spiritual master is considered as good as God. As representative of God, he is as good as God. So we should not see God, a spiritual master or a Vaishnava with the material eye. Oh, he's also sleeping like me. He's also eating like me. Or he's not eating very cleanly like me. He's not very good. He's not very cultured. So he's not a good Vaishnava. All these are serious for us. Because people coming from Western cultures, they may exhibit a different behavior. And you may think it's not very cultured behavior. But they are far more advanced Vaishnavas than us. So we should be very careful. Culture is a material issue. Devotion is a spiritual issue. We should not confuse both. So a neophyte devotee should not watch a devotee externally, be very, very careful, but should try to see the internal features and understand how he is engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. In this way, one can avoid seeing pure devotee from a material point of view, and thus we can also become a purified devotee by this training. Another thing is, those who think that Krishna consciousness is limited to a certain section of people. See, another problem Prabhupada said, when Prabhupada brought Americans to India, they are saying, some Indians are saying, Krishna is an Indian God. How can Americans take it? You have your own God. Krishna is our God. Why you are chanting the Hare Krishna holy name? And why you are dressing like us? Why you are wearing tilak? Krishna is our God. Krishna will not give you any benefits if you chant his name like that. So Prabhupada is saying, Krishna is the God of the creation. Krishna is not restricted to a particular section of people or to a particular piece of land. Only Vrindavan, only people living in Vrindavan are eligible for Krishna Prema, like that. Such neophyte people, they are unable to appreciate the exalted service of foreigner devotees who are advanced devotees of Prabhupada. They are trying to bring a Mahabhagavata down to their platform. So Prabhupada has done such amazing work, but they are criticizing Prabhupada also. So Prabhupada says, I am experiencing such difficulties from these people. They do not appreciate that the extraordinary work done by me is because of empowerment by Krishna. Without empowerment by Krishna, nobody can distribute this Krishna consciousness worldwide. If I have done that, they should realize that I am empowered by Krishna. They should not find fault with my activities. That I am giving Diksha to women also. I am allowing women to do deity worship also. In the temple, I am allowing them to perform artis. I am allowing them to go and distribute books along with men, and people are finding fault with me. But Prabhupada went to America, studied their culture, and after seeing the advancement of these people, he, as an emergency measure, he gave them so many responsibilities. So Prabhupada says, these people do not understand and they are committing aparadha. So Prabhupada is cautioning them, not out of pride, but Prabhupada is telling to protect them in their own interest. Prabhupada is saying, because of poor knowledge, they are judging me, which they should not do. Only an empowered person can spread Krishna consciousness. So when you commit such Vaishnava aparadha, Prabhupada says, it is very obstructive and dangerous for those who want to advance in Krishna consciousness. A person cannot derive any spiritual benefit by offending the lotus feet of a Vaishnava. Everyone should therefore be very careful not to be jealous of an empowered Vaishnava. I have come to the last page of this purport. It is also an offense to consider an empowered Vaishnava an object of disciplinary action. You cannot say to Prabhupada, oh, you crossed the ocean now to go to America, you have to do prayashchitta. You cannot tell. He is a spiritual master of the world. I'm just giving an example. They are finding fault. How do you associate with ladies? You are a sannyasi and you went to America, you performed marriages. Who authorized you? So you have to perform atonement. You are not a proper sannyasi. So Prabhupada says they have no business to say these things. You cannot discipline a spiritual master. And one can distinguish between a neophyte Vaishnava and an advanced Vaishnava by their activities. An advanced Vaishnava is always situated as a spiritual master, and the neophyte is always considered his disciple. The spiritual master cannot be subjected to the advice of a disciple, nor should the spiritual master be obliged to take instruction from such disciples. So this is the sum and substance of Srila Rupa Goswami's advice in the 6th verse. Please go through it again. This is very, very important for our advancement. Every shloka in Nectar of Instruction is very deep. We have to read it repeatedly. Fortunately, it's only a small book. It doesn't take much time. Please read it again at leisure and try to take deeply into our heart. Shloka 5 and 6, they are connected. So please understand exactly. Shloka 5 says you should make distinction. Shloka 6 says you should not make distinction. So there is a context for both. There is a context for saying make a distinction. There is another context for saying do not make a distinction. Please understand these both and implement all these things in your life. Thank you very much. If there are 1 or 2 questions, I will take and then we will wrap up. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, are they saying about the mental offenses that we make on the mental level? Like as soon as we see somebody, we will think something. It is not a wantedly we do that. So certain thoughts will come, Prabhuji. Like seeing Jayapataka Swami Maharaj also have.
Yes.
Those thoughts have come, Prabhuji. So I'm getting scared now. So
actually, no. Seeing Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, we are actually able to see a demonstration of how a devotee is above the bodily considerations. If you actually see how his body is handled by his disciples, you will see that nothing is under the control. The head will roll this side, body will roll that side. He cannot stand up. His eyes are not in control. He cannot speak clearly, but still he is doing amazing preaching. Who can do that? His kidney is failing, his liver is failing, but when he sits on the Vyasasana, preaching is just flowing like nectar. You can clearly see this body and this soul totally, different. Not that his body is material. Again, that would be an offense. A pure devotee's body is completely spiritual, but he's giving us a demonstration how we can all rise above the body in Krishna consciousness. And I have had very close association with him, very fortunately, by the mercy of Acharyas. He stayed with me on 2 occasions when I was in Calcutta. And I could watch him very close, how he is completely transcendent. Yeah. So that apart, when I have a tendency to judge mentally and it happens spontaneously, very true. You don't have to worry too much. Immediately, mentally, you understand that you are wrong. And you tell your mind, oh mind, don't act foolishly, you are committing an aparadh. You are now trying to judge a Vaishnava, not to an ordinary Vaishnava, he is an Acharya of the whole world. Srila Prabhupada told about him when he was 18 years old, when Jayapataka Maharaj was barely 18 or 19 years old. Srila Prabhupada told on 3 occasions, he is a direct associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is a personal associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he has come to assist in my mission. Right? This was told by one of the very, very advanced devotees of ISKCON. He is no more now. His name was Srinathji Prabhu. His father was an MP in the Jawaharlal Nehru's government. And he assisted His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, who was a sannyasi at the age of 18 or 19. He was a boy sannyasi. And they assisted him in getting his Indian citizenship. He gave up his American citizenship. He wanted to be an Indian citizen. So he's a very, very glorious person. And very appropriately, Prabhupada named him as Jaya Pataka, means victory flag. He is the victory flag of ISKCON movement. Yeah. So, yes, I agree with you. Our mind is accustomed to always judging. Our mind, every time he says good or bad, favorable or unfavorable, like that, our mind is always doing this duality, putting things into this bucket, that bucket, this bucket, that bucket. We want to go on judging. So it is spontaneously doing it. But you have to tell your mind, you are wrong. You should give up this habit. If you are doing this, it becomes a serious Vaishnava aparadha, and it will completely block our progress. So please don't do it. Like that, you should talk to your mind. And you feel repentance, you pray to Srila Prabhupada, please forgive me for this offense. Let me not do it again. So as long as we are sincere and it is happening spontaneously, please realize that it is happening because of my own anarthas, and it will slowly clear away. So every time you make a prayer. So a mental offense is not taken seriously, but then it is a mental offense that matures into an actual offense in future. So we should also be careful about mental offenses. So very nice that you expressed it to me. Same way, if you hear the glorifications of Jayapataka Swami Maharaj from his other disciples, then your mind will become clear and you'll be able to appreciate him much, much more. Actually, worldwide, there is great appreciation for him because he has overcome every physical problem and he has never slowed down his preaching work. We just now read now in Prabhupada, he's doing the main business of his spiritual master, which is to exercise pure loving devotion to Krishna and to preach. So in that sense, we should be able to see a Vaishnava from that perspective. Is it okay, Mataji? Would you like to?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji,
Prabhuji, can you?
Hmm.
Okay, you proceed, Prabhu.
Yeah, Ajit Prabhu. Yes, go on.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Prabhuji, the same thing I have, what I do is, I'll say Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. In my mind, I'll say that, and Guru Parampara ki jai, and I'll offer my obeisances. So that thought goes away. And with Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, what I had done is I had started following his Insta posts. So with that, there is a lot of his preaching every day, those preaching tips, and also, so I am not associated, I am no way connected to him, but then I started slowly realizing his importance in the entire movement by just reading that. So that was one kripa which happened to me. So probably maybe that's how I probably do it. When all these thoughts come to my mind, the wrong thoughts come to my mind, and my way of doing it is straight away say Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, ISKCON Guru Parampara ki jai, and offer my obeisances mentally. So that clears it all. So that's how probably that would have helped me. That's one way of I try to handle the situation. Good, right, wrong, I don't know, but that's how I am handling. You have
very, very, very right. Actually, I can say a lot more about this Maharaj, but we don't have much time. But very, very, very extraordinary personality. He can see in his presence a demonstration of what is pure devotion. Demonstration of what is pure devotion. He will never think of himself. He will only think of others. All these things, we hear theory, in him, in a living person, we see all this quality. Always consideration for others. Never even a little thought for himself. Very, very amazing demonstration of what a pure devotee is, and is personally certified also. But anyway, this is only one example. There could be so many other Vaishnavas in whom you might find, especially, because Western devotees, they are all from Western devotees. They don't have the Indian cultural upbringing, and also, especially if you are a Brahmin from India, and that too from a family which is very traditional, then you have to be extremely careful because you will have so many taboos, in your life. No, this should not be done. You should not touch your mouth with your finger. If you have touched it, then you should wash. Or if you are eating something, you should not hold it in your hand and chew it. Then your hand should be washed. Like that. You should not touch the plate from which you are eating with your left hand. So many taboos are there. And when you see somebody breaking it, you will think, oh, this person is no good. No. So this judgmental mentality, very, very carefully we should avoid. Prabhupada has very clearly told us what is the focus. It's a completely spiritual dimension. It's not a material dimension at all. Culture is material, but this is absolutely transcendental. So that way, not only with this one devotee, but every devotee that you meet, if they are Prabhupada's disciples or other advanced devotees who are serving the mission nicely, take extra care to avoid even mental offense. And every time, as Ajit Prabhu was saying, you pray to the Guru Parampara to help you from committing any offenses, even mentally. Hare Krishna. Yes, then anything
Hare
else?
Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, I'm very eager to know about Guru Maharaj, Prabhu. Can you share some?
maybe another occasion, Bhartaji. Actually, I have to rush. But actually, anyone you speak to, they will tell you so many stories about him. Anyone who has even spent a little time with him will tell so much about him. In my case, I wanted to explain how he was playing with my own children. He was in such a bad condition, but he was playing with my children as though he was completely normal. He was making fun of himself, in playing these games. I was standing, I was crying only. I could not hold my tears, but he is laughing. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyascha patitanam
Patitanang Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
ki jai, Srila Prabhupada.
Jai.
Thank you, devotees.
Prabhu,
We meet
tomorrow
again
you have class,
next week.
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Tomorrow you have class.
Krishna Prabhuji.
No, Mataji.
Hare Krishna
Class
Prabhuji.
is every Saturday.
Wonderful.
And Mataji, you can join in the group. If you are not yet in the group, I think one of you can help her to be in the group. If not yet,
Okay.
there will
I
be
see, Prabhu.
announcement. There will be sometimes slight change in the timings only, but our classes are usually on Saturdays.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Jai Shri.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.